Welcome, and now this is our module number 6 for quarter number 2. Writing an exposition or discussion on a familiar issue to include key structural elements and language features. So we will start on page number 3. So the module provides varied activities that will allow you to use structural elements and language features in writing an exposition. At the end of this module, you are expected to first, identify the different key structural elements and language features. Second, express your opinion on a familiar issue. And third, construct an exposition or discussion using key structural elements and language features. So in what I know part, we have here an article. So you will read it. After reading it, you will answer the following questions and you will just choose the letter of the correct answer. So the title of the article is Online Bullying Remains Prevalent in the Philippines and Other Countries. So you can predict what is it all about and what is the message from the title itself. So in the next page is the continuation of the article. Then you will answer these questions based on what you have read, based on what you have comprehended. So it's up to 10. Then on numbers 11 to 15, you will just write star, or you will draw star if the statement is correct, then moon if it is not. Then we have 5 items here about cyberbullying and about how we use or how internet can affect us. So in what's in, we have here the simple review about essay, editorial, and speech. So it is important for you to know that the purpose of an exposition is to present one side of an argument and persuade the reader or listener to agree or take action to solve the problem. So it can be presented as an essay, editorial, or speech. So when you say essay, it is a short, formal piece of writing dealing with a single subject. It is typically written to try to persuade the readers using selected research evidence. And the second one would be editorial. It is an article in a newspaper or other periodical or on a website presenting the opinion of the publisher, writer, or editor. Then last one will be the speech. It is formal address or address or discourse delivered to an audience. So when we say speech, it is spoken. We can hear sounds because it's a speech given by a particular speaker. Then when we say essay and editorial, these are both written using sentences and paragraphs, and it entails different ideas about single topic or about the stand of the writer. So based on what we have discussed about our short review dealing with editorial, essay, and speech, so you will just write T, a capital T, caps lock, so it is correct, and letter F, caps lock F if it is not or false. True or false, but you will just write the letter, the initial letter of true and false, which are T and F. T if it's correct, F if it's not. So there are 5 items to evaluate if it is correct or not. Then in what's new, you will arrange the jumbled letters to reveal the different language features. Write your answers on the table on a separate sheet of paper. So after rearranging those letters, so you will copy this table on your answer sheet. Then you will put your answer in column B. So it will be your column A. Rearrange it. Then after rearranging it, write it on the column B. So in what is it? So it is the discussion proper. So in what is it? In order to write a good exposition, one should include key structural elements and language features. Structure of an exposition. So we are having structure, or it will how exposition looks like. So there are three main parts to an exposition. Your writing will be clear if you follow this structure. So for your readers to understand more, to make it clearer and more understandable, we will use this structure of an exposition. So the first one will be the statement of position. It introduces the topic and makes it clear what your position is. You need the first one, a strong opening sentence that provokes your reader's interest or captures your reader's attention. Second one, an overview of your thesis or argument on the topic and the points you will make. So when you say statement of position, it is your stand, if you agree or not. So you will directly say it if you are pro or against, for your readers to know what is your stand, what is your position about a single topic. So by delivering your own stand, it should be remarkable, it should be engaging for your readers to believe that your stand is somehow correct, even though some of the readers do not have the same position as yours. Because of your strong opening sentence, you will make them believe. So how to make strong opening sentence? You may include facts, statistics, or also, but those information should be brief only, because all of those evidences will be used in your argument, which is the next part or the next structure of our next thing that we have in our structure, the argument. So when we say argument in this section, you can make a number of points. Begin each paragraph with a key statement or general statement. Give supporting reasons in the rest of the paragraph. Then make a new point in the opening sentence of the next paragraph and give supporting reasons, and so on. So the first one will be your opening sentence. It is your presenting your own stand, your position. So like what I have said a while ago, that you should have your brief evidences in your first part, because most of the readers, if they will be hooked and if they are engaged in your first part of your exposition, then they will continue reading it until the end. So it is important for you to have a glimpse of your argument in the first part. But when we say argument, it is the argument itself which pertains to the elaboration, explanation, it's giving emphasis to supporting your own stand and position. You will explain here why your stand is correct, why your position is believable and worthy to believe in. So the third one will be the reinforcement of the statement of position. To sum up your argument, you could make a statement about what you see as a solution to the problem, or what might happen if the situation is not resolved. You could call for some form of action from the audience. So when you say reinforcement of the statement of position, meaning you are giving the implication, the value, the essence of your stand. If your reader will not do something, if they will not do any action, there will be consequence. Or if they do it, there will be benefits. So that will be the reinforcement. It can be a negative reinforcement. If they do not do it, there will be something, or there are some consequences to happen. But if it is positive reinforcement, if they do something, they will have benefits. We have now the language features. An exposition or argument includes particular language features. It aims to include some of these features in your exposition. So we have the features and the examples here. The first one will be the conjunctions or joining words. It joins one part of a sentence to another. They link the flow of the argument. So when we say conjunctions, these are similar to a bridge for us to connect, relate our ideas in our exposition, in our essay, in our speeches, in our editorial. We should use conjunctions. So the examples of conjunctions are so, and so, and so, because, therefore, if, and but. So there are specific purposes on using that. For example, but, it shows contrast. Because, it shows cause and effect. So it depends on how you will use these conjunctions based on your context. For example, you are showing the cause, then you may use the word because of, like that. And if you will just continue, you will just add information, you can use the word and, furthermore, like that. Next will be the modal verbs. When you say modal verbs, it expresses the writer's attitude to the topic. So the examples are can, could, should, must, might. So these are the modals. When you say modals, these are special verbs that after these special verbs, the next verb will be in the base form. It should not be having ing, s, or past tense. It should be base form. So what is the function of modal? It is the power of the writer or the speaker on, for example, you can do something, you must act now. So it gives appeal to the reader, the intensity, the emotion. So it also adds emotions to the reader that they should there is an eagerness for them to move, for them to act, for them to believe. So the third one will be evaluative language. Suggests the degree of approval or helps compare ideas. So these are important, best, most, truth, largest, more popular. So they are describing, they're also giving emphasis which is more significant or essential to focus on. So when I say evaluative language, we evaluate per certain topic. Is it important or not? It is also giving credential, it is giving validity to your information. For example, according to the research, which is the largest, blah, 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 which is the best, which is the most popular. So it gives validity. It is a thing that will make your reader amazed and really believing in your claim and in your evidences. So for thinking verbs, these are know, believe, feel, people, think, agreed. So these are the verbs, these are the action words that we are using to make them, or to, it's like making them believe, making them feel, making them think, or they will do something about your, upon reading your editorial, upon hearing your speeches. So these are the thinking verbs. Maybe after reading your article, they will have something to think for. They will have some ideas that will be pondered upon reading your text or upon hearing your speeches. And last feature will be transitional words. It links ideas in an argument. Example, firstly, for that reason, for example, as a consequence, because of this in particular, therefore, finally. So like conjunctions, they are serving as a bridge. It connects different ideas depending on a purpose. If you are giving cause and effect, if you are giving contrast, emphasis, adding information, and so on. So we already discussed it in our previous module. So you can go back for us to really elaborate the different functions of those transitional words. So we cannot use transitional words just what we want. For example, you want to use firstly, but it's not appropriate. So you should know the real function, the real purpose of each transitional word before you use it, because it also considers the coherence or the oneness of your thought. Sometimes if you did not use it properly and effectively, it will just be a vague part, a misunderstanding, or a difficult thing that your reader might not understand well. So you should know the proper uses, proper purposes of each transitional word. So don't forget to use this structure and language features on your exposition. So, but before we proceed to the independent assessments, let us go back. When we say structure of an exposition, we have three parts. The statement of position, it is where you are saying your own stand, your own position, if you agree or not. Then you will have your brief, your short evidences to make them hooked and to increase their interesting. Then second one will be your argument, or it will be your evidences that will strengthen your stand. Then the third one will be the reinforcement, or what they should do, what they should not do after reading that. What are the consequences if they do it? Then what are the benefits if they do it? So you will emphasize for them to really be affected of what they are reading. So we have language features. We have 5 conjunctions, transitional words. They are somehow having the same purpose, which is to connect and to achieve coherence and the oneness of the thought. You will relate your ideas. You will introduce based on specific aim or specific use. For example, because to show cause and effect. Contrast, you will use but or however. So there are more. You can go back to the previous video lesson which focused on this part. We have modal verbs. These are the special verbs that after this modal, you will use the base form. For example, you can dance, you could walk, you should write, you must act, you might fall. So those verbs that will be placed after these modal verbs should be in base form. No ing, no s at the end, no ed, no d. Base form. Then evaluative language, these are the things to increase the validity, the credibility, and the appeal to the reader. For example, according to the research, which is the largest, blah blah, the more popular, it depends. So thinking verb, what they should do upon they are reading your own editorial, speeches, or essay. In independent activity number 1, you will identify what is being described in each number by choosing the corresponding shape inside the box. So we have here different shapes, as you can see, and there is specific meaning. For example, heart for conjunctions, oval for modal verbs, and so on. So you will write only those shapes in each number. If the statement in particular number is pertaining to the words or word inside the box. For example, number 1 is for conjunction, for example only. You will draw heart in number 1. And so on. It is like the letter, but now we are using sheets. Independent assessment number 1, classify the underlined words or word based on language features. So your answers can be conjunctions, transitional devices, evaluative language, modal verbs, and the last choices will be the thinking verbs. Again, your answers can be conjunctions, transitional devices or transitional words, modal verbs, evaluative language, or thinking verbs. So you will look for the underlined words. Number 1, however. Number 2, and. Number 3, can. Number 4, believe. Number 5, most. So you will just, based on the example given on page number 7, you can easily identify what's the feature being used in each item. So in independent activity number 2, you will read the editorial. And like what I have said, editorial is an example. It's one example of an exposition. So the editorial below is entitled Most Bullied Children. So it's also about cyberbullying or cybersecurity, about how internet affects us. So after reading that, you will answer the guide questions. It's 1 to 10. It's your own understanding. It's your own answer based on what you have read. Independent assessment number 2, the following are paragraphs from the editorial that you just read. Write which structure of an exposition is used in each. Again, write which structure of an exposition is used in each. For example, it can be the argument, or it can be your stand, or can it be your reinforcement? So it can, again, your answers can be statement of position, argument, or reinforcement of the statement of position. You can go back on page number 6 and 7 for you to identify what are the answers here in an independent assessment number 2. It can be your statement of position, or it can be your argument. It could be the reinforcement of the position. So it's 1 to 5. You will just choose among the 3 structure. Is it under part of argument, part of statement of position, or part of reinforcement? Then activity 3, arrange the editorial below according to the structure of an exposition. Rewrite your answers on your answer sheet. So how you will answer independent activity number 3? You will just arrange these 5 paragraphs. So the first should be the statement of position. You will write it first. Then the arguments, what should come first, what should come second, what should come next. Then the last one will be the reinforcement on what they should do, what they should not do, or what are the things, or what are the benefits, consequences after they doing it, after not doing it. So that will be independent activity number 3. So you will rewrite these 5 paragraphs according to the structure in proper order. So independent assessment number 3, it is time to express your opinion about familiar issues in our country. Write your own exposition about cyberbullying. It can be an essay, editorial, or speech. Make sure to use the structure and language features that we discussed. You will be graded based on the rubric given below. So content, it is your message, it is your position, how you explained, what are the evidences you have presented. In the structure, are they complete? Did you state your stand? Did you support it with your argument? Or did you include reinforcement? Then language features, how precise? Or did you use transitional words? Did you use conjunctions? Like that, the features that we have discussed a while ago. Then you will, for example, familiar issue in our country. So you can freely choose what is your topic, as long as you will include if you agree or disagree with that issue, and explain it with the structure, with the features of an exposition. Then what I have learned, share to your friends the learnings that you acquire in this module by answering what's on your mind on a Facebook post. So imagine that you will have your Facebook post. What did you learn? What did you learn from this module? Then what I can do, young people like you are into social media these days because of the new normal in education. What advice can you give to others in order to make social media a safe place for everyone? So tweet your answer. So a while ago we used Facebook application. Now we will use Twitter. So if you will be given chance to tweet about an advice to make our social media a safe place, what would it be? Then the assessment. There are 10 items. You will read each item in each number. Then you will just choose the correct letter of the answer. Then true or false. If it is true, you will just write true. Then if it is false, you will change the underlined words that make it incorrect. So 11 to 15, if it is true, write true. If it is incorrect or if it is false, you will change the underlined one. Then for your additional activities, you are almost done. For your final activity, make a slogan on how to stop cyberbullying on an Instagram post. So we are done using Facebook, we are done using Twitter. Now it's time to use Instagram. So maybe you can write it on a clean sheet of paper. It can be short band paper, and you can put designs, an appealing slogan about cyberbullying, on how to use properly and effectively social media and internet. So do not forget to do this because it will serve as your performance task in quarter number 2. And for the final generalization, writing an exposition or discussion on a familiar issue to include key structural elements and language features. This will be the how you give your opinion, your stand, how you support it, and how you influence your readers, your listeners to do something or not to do something, because there are consequences, there are benefits. So it's your power, it's the writer's power, speaker's power to influence and effectively make them believe, make them stand, make them do something. So this module will end, and I hope that by this module you learned how you will support your own idea, how you will support your own stand to influence other people and make our internet, our social media as platform for us to influence more despite of negativities which are happening nowadays. We are here to influence, not to judge other people, because we know nobody's perfect and no one will help us except ourselves. So goodbye and thank you. If you have any questions, you can have private message to your English teachers. Keep safe and God bless.